Lesson 8 has to do with personal pronouns. So far we've been using only nouns and adjectives. We're going to learn personal pronouns, and we'll be able to use them now in our diagramming, etc. And we'll talk about that in just a moment. You are staying with it, right? You're learning your vocabulary, your forms, you're getting everything down and staying with it. Review continually, some every day if possible. 10, 15 minutes of your vocabulary cards or the tape every day will help you to stay with the vocabulary and forms. I know if you don't do that, then the Greek is not going to stay with you. So please stay with it. The lesson 8 begins on page 44 in Machen and page 16 in the workbook. Look at the vocabulary, just 5 words. So you have an easy vocabulary now, and this will give you a chance to do some review. The first word is aftos, E-O. Aftos, E-O. It's the word for he. The is a conjunction we've had before, ke. We've used that for joining two coordinate clauses. Now we have the, but or and. It can be and like ke, or it can be a mild contrastive element, but. Ego is the word I. You've heard of the ego. This is where this comes from. Ego, I. Me is the word I am. Now, me takes the nominative. Remember we said that some verbs take different cases. This one takes the nominative, not the accusative. We'll talk about that in a moment. Si is the word for you. You should mark out the thou there. We're not using thous. Mark out thou and put you, Y-O-U. Si means you. Now, paragraph 91 points out that the is a post-positive. Now, by post-positive, it simply means that it cannot stand first in this clause. Ordinarily, it stands second. Sometimes it will be third or fourth, depending on what's there. But that will not be the first word in the clause, though it is logically translated first in this clause. Now, there are quite a few forms. Notice I pointed out how easy the vocabulary is. Quite a few forms in this section. We have the personal pronouns, first, second, and third persons. And then we have the forms of the indicative of me, paragraph 98. So we're going to look at those over here at the flip chart, and we'll talk about how they work. In paragraph 94, you have the forms of ego, and you'll notice that we're doing it this way here. Ego, I, of me, to or for me, me. And then this is the plural of I. The plural of I, of course, is we. So this is we, of us, to or for us, and us. Now, notice ego, and me, and mu, and me, and me. And then imi, simon, imi, mas, the plural. Now, paragraph 95 has the plural for you, si, su, si, set. See the similarity? Here, 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 here. And then the plural is imi, simon, imi, mas. Sounds exactly like this one, e, because these are both e sounds. Now, this is the word for you, remember? You. This is the one for I. The plural of si is emis, and it has the you. It means you. You, plural. And the one that has the you, that looks like you in English, that you is you. So keep that in mind. The you means you, the other one means we. Now this is the first person I. Remember when we talked about in the verbs we had Leo, Liis, Lii, and we had I, you, and he. Well, this is the first person I. So with Leo, you would use ego. With Liis, you would use si in Greek. So first person, person speaking, I. The second person, person spoken to, you. Now we'll look at the others, the third person in just a moment. But remember I, of me, just like you see it in paragraph 94 and paragraph 95. Translations. That shouldn't be any problem to you. You notice that there's a subscript there that when you don't have the epsilon on the front, these are non-emphatic. So the emphatic form has the epsilon. The unemphatic form is without the epsilon. In the case of C, the ones that have the accent are emphatic. The ones that do not have the accent are unemphatic. We'll talk about that in a little while. Now, those are the forms of the first person and second person pronoun. Then, paragraph 98, we have the forms of me. Me means I am. So if this is I am, you are, he is, we are, you are, they are. Notice the movable ni. That's, we talked about before, paragraph 44. Now, we will use this whenever we have, for instance, ologos, oagathos, or ologos, agathos. Then instead we used to say, the word is good. We had a little word is in there. We won't do that anymore. We will use estin as the verb. We will not use any English is or was. We'll use the forms for the Greek from now on. After all, this is a Greek course. Now, we want to look at the other forms on the desktop here. The forms of aftos, the third personal pronoun. Now remember that the first and second personal pronouns, all they had was the singular and plural, and they only had one gender. We don't know what gender it is. We don't know until we see the context. But in the third person, we have to have, and this is paragraph 96 in your book, we have to have three people because the person spoken about, the third person, can be either masculine, feminine, or neuter. So, aftos, remember we had this on page 10a, we had all the nouns and adjectives and the article. Now on this page we're doing the same thing, put them together, and you'll see that the same endings are here, here, and here. So write in aftos, u, o, on, e, on, is, us, and the same thing here, just like graphi. This is just like thoron, except that it doesn't have a ni in the nominative singular. So fill those in and learn going from the known to the unknown. And remember, the third person pronoun means he, she, or it. Now, the use of the pronouns. We have them now. Remember what a pronoun is. In the workbook, page 16, we've defined the personal pronoun or a pronoun as a part of speech which stands in the place of a noun and is used to avoid continual repetition of that noun. If you say, I see the disciple and teach him, that's the same as saying, I see the disciple and I teach the disciple. But after a while, disciple becomes a little bit much. So we put in pronouns. So we will talk about, when we talk about pronouns, we'll talk about its antecedent, the word to which it refers. And this will be shown most easily, I think, in the diagramming. Now, we diagram, this is still on page 16 of the workbook, pronouns should be diagrammed in the place of their function in the sentence, just as a noun is. From this point, the student should supply the Greek pronouns in place of the English pronouns as previously used. Now, the use of the pronoun. A pronoun agrees in gender and number with its antecedent, but not necessarily in case. That's what Machen says right at the bottom of page 47. A pronoun agrees in gender and number. Remember, an adjective agreed gender, number, and case. Pronouns only in gender and number, and we'll take its case from the sentence in which, or the clause in which it appears. Look at the bottom of page 16. You see, ego vlepo mathitin tone, or tone mathitin. You see the mathitin is going to be the antecedent. It's masculine, singular, accusative. Then you see the off tone on the second line. I teach him. Off tone then is the pronoun which stands in the place of mathitin. Therefore, mathitin is the antecedent. And you see that off tone agrees masculine, singular, accusative. Now, it's only incidental or coincidental that they are both the same case. They could be different cases, but they have to be the same gender and number. Now, you see the diagramming of the another sentence. It's a sentence out of Machen. I remain in the house. You see the en to, I remain in the house, page 17. The antecedent is eco, or eco. Then, and I teach and I know it, auton, see that the auton is masculine singular accusative, while the antecedent eco is masculine singular dative. So it will not agree necessarily in case. It will agree in gender and number. And of course we translate the auton it, even though it's a masculine pronoun, we translate it because the house is an it in English. So in our English sentence we'll say it and not him, even though the him would seem to be the indication from the auton. Now, at this point, paragraph 99 tells us that the emi takes a predicate nominative. Paragraph 99, emi takes a predicate nominative and not an accusative to complete its meaning. So that means then you could have two nominatives in a sentence with an emi verb. Now, if you have two nominatives, then which one is going to be the subject? Not necessarily the first one, though that may be one indication. So you have to make a decision. How will I choose a subject if I have two nouns in the nominative and a linking verb or an emi verb? Well, here are some rules. You ought to write these down, perhaps in your workbook on page 17 at the bottom. Here are the rules. Number one, if you have, remember, write this down too. If you have two nominatives with emi, then you choose the noun over the adjective as subject. The noun will be the subject over the adjective. You would say the word is good, not good is the word. See what I'm saying? You choose the noun over the adjective as subject. You choose a pronoun over the noun. You wouldn't say he is, you wouldn't say the man is he. You'd say he is the man. The pronoun over the noun or an adjective. So noun over an adjective, pronoun over a noun. And you choose the noun with the article over the noun without the article. And the word was God, not God was the word, as one perversion has it. It's the word was God. In other words, the noun with the article will be chosen over the noun without the article. Now, Machen covers something in a footnote, which I think deserves a little more attention than that. At the bottom of page 49, he says the final vowel of prepositions is frequently elided or knocked out, taken out, before words that begin with a vowel, and that elision is marked by an apostrophe. Now, that's what we do with our contractions. Cannot, can't, C-A-N, apostrophe T. Well, the apostrophe indicates something that has been elided or left out. That's true. That's what happens when a final vowel comes before a word that begins with a vowel. Then he says in page 51 that the rough breathing, before rough breathing, the P of the op becomes op, or becomes a phi. Now, I put that in the chart on page 17 of your workbook. Notice the before vowels will be the with an apostrophe. Before rough breathing, it'll still be the, no change. Then apo, before a vowel will be op with apostrophe, and before rough breathing it will be off. So the P changes to phi. P changes to phi. With meta, the alpha drops out. It'll be met before vowels. It will be meth before rough breathing. And then I've added one that he didn't mention. That is ek. Ek, I put a line there because it isn't really unelided. Simply plain old ek before most words. But before vowels, ek becomes x. There is no difference between rough breathing. Now, a reminder that you are in your exercises from now on to use pronouns. Don't say I, say ego. Don't say we, say emis, and so forth. Use pronouns always in your homeworks. And then also do not use is or any form of to be. Use the Greek to be. And when you do that, I think your Greek is going to look much better. It's going to look more like a Greek class now. And you'll do the same number, do extra credit if you'd like, and then we'll be ready for, in the next chapter, to go on with demonstrative pronouns, which will be one more step forward.